Welcome. I'm Yvonne Davis, author, astrologer, and life transformation coach. And today is Wednesday, November 25th, 2020. So I'm going to bring up some charts for upcoming alignments and show you those charts and talk about them. And also, I want to talk about, in general, predicting the future. And before I do that, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please click on the right button there and subscribe to my channel and ring the bell for notifications. I hope you'll click like on this video, share with friends and family and on social media, and leave your comments below. And also, if you're willing to head on over to my Financial Freedom channel and subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. There's a link in the description box below and pinned to the top of the comments. And at the end of this video, there's a multicolored diamond. And basically, if you're interested in seeing those videos, I hope you will enjoy them. But also, if you're willing to just do me a quick favor, just click a few buttons and subscribe. That'll help me build the channel so I can monetize it. And I'm getting very close now, so I really appreciate all of you who've gone over there and done that. It's helping me so much. It's a very simple, easy, free thing you can do to support my work, and I really appreciate it. All right, so I'll pull up the charts first. All right, so this is titled Nutty Black Friday. It's for November 27th, 2020. And the reason why I'm looking at this particular chart is because this is the day that Venus is opposite Uranus and the moon is conjunct Uranus. So there's also a moon-Venus opposition. And they're also making aspects to the sun. So basically, although I don't generally trust Uranus because it's the planet of unpredictability and it is a malefic, but I don't see this as being dangerous. So that's good news because a lot of people may be out shopping. And of course, you may choose to shop online if you're going to shop for Christmas. But the thing about this is Venus rules money, wealth, and also relationships. I mean, so this can affect relationships, but because Uranus is in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, it's probably going to relate to things like money, wealth, finances. So anything related to shopping, money, finances, shopping malls, credit cards, money, finances, anything like that, okay, could be affected by this alignment. And so Uranus is going to bring something unpredictable. That's what it does. Now, could be something good, actually. It could be, like you find a good deal or you find something you never expected, so it doesn't necessarily assume that it's bad. But often in an opposition, it has a separating effect. And so often, like it could separate you from your money, for example. And it won't necessarily be something favorable, in an opposition. And with the two of the planets that are in this alignment are Venus and the moon. The moon represents emotion, subconscious, the people. So people might be in a bad mood. A lot of times with the moon conjunct Uranus, people get really snappy and irritable and may say or do things that they might later regret. This, that's not like me at all. Can't believe I snapped at you like that, but that's the way they act sometimes. So if you are out shopping or interacting with other people, you may find that happens. Somebody may act really crazy, say or do something that's kind of shocking, and it'll come out of the blue, and it'll just shock, surprise, and stun you. So that's typical for this kind of alignment. But like I said, it's also related to money and finances and shopping and anything related to those topics: economics, finances, money, wealth, shopping malls, any of that kind of stuff. So you want to be really careful with your money around this time. make sure it's safe and secure. You don't want to accidentally lose your purse or have it stolen, or your wallet. So just be careful about that. And yeah, I think that's about all I can say. I think a lot of people, I would assume a lot of people aren't going to be going out to the shopping malls on Black Friday, so the numbers will probably be lower. Probably more people will be shopping online. But anyway, just keep this in mind. And it's also going to bring some volatility around economics and the stock market, not necessarily on the day of the alignment, maybe, but not necessarily. The other issue is that it's embedded in the full moon eclipse, because the full moon eclipse takes place just a few days after that. And there's always an 8-day window, 4 days before and 4 days after. So the fact that this alignment is happening so close to the full moon eclipse means that the energy of Venus in opposition to Uranus is very much tied up in the full moon eclipse. So if it's something good, because Uranus is unpredictable, it's shocking and surprising. Sometimes, usually it's not so favorable. It depends on how it lands in your chart. Sometimes it is favorable. So you can't automatically assume that it's negative just because it's an opposition and just because it's Uranus is a malefic. Especially because Venus is a benefic planet. So it is possible it could be something good. But either way, you can't make any assumptions. All we can know for sure is it can bring some instability, volatility in finances, economics, the stock market. It's embedded in the full moon eclipse, which means that it's not so much about what happens on that exact day of the alignment. It's the fact that it's embedded in the full moon eclipse, which takes us all the way to the next eclipse cycle, which is in the summer, 6 months from now. Okay. And so this energy is embedded in the eclipse, and that means that it spans that whole 6-month period. So I do expect that we will have some financial and economic instability. Some good things. We may get another stimulus package. I'm not going to do a reading on that right now, but we may also have some volatility in the stock market. Most likely that would occur around the time that Jupiter and Saturn move into Aquarius, because Saturn will hit 29 degrees of Capricorn and then move into Aquarius. And when it happened earlier this year in April, that's when the economy went into a lockdown and the stock market crashed. So it's possible we'll see a repeat of that. But usually when it happens the third time, so the first time it happened direct was in April, and then when it went retrograde back into Capricorn, and now it's going direct again into Aquarius. And that actually happens on December 17th. So Saturn will hit 29 degrees and then go into Aquarius around December 17th. So around that time, there may be some more economic volatility, and especially with the stock market. So you can keep that in mind. And then also around inauguration, because of the civil unrest that I was predicting. All right, so now I want to talk a little bit about making predictions in general, because there were a couple of comments in my last video that really got my thinking. One was that somebody asked me if I could predict in 2024, and I actually have done a video. So, if you want to go back, you can see that video. But more importantly, if I were going to look at 2024, which I might, I need to let people understand this, because this relates to the other comment, which was yesterday in my last video when I talked about that, initially when a person just looked at the chart with the North Node right over Donald Trump's North Node and Sun, he was having a North Node return very high in his chart, that would indicate that he would win the election. And And that's why a lot of people predicted it, but then of course they were wrong. And so what I was trying to say in that video, and somebody commented that I manipulated the chart to find what I wanted to find. And so while it's true that I did take the time to look for other alignments to see if there was evidence for a possible Biden win, yes, I was looking. I spent a lot of time. I spent hours and hours and hours, dozens of hours. It's hard to add it up over months, and even I would say even a year, because I was looking ahead a year. Could be hundreds of hours that I spent looking. I probably was, when you add it all up, hundreds of hours looking at charts. And so you can't manipulate a chart. Okay, that's the first thing. You can't manipulate a chart. A chart is a chart. Now, you can read it differently. You can interpret it differently. You can use different techniques. Yes, that's not the same thing as manipulating a chart. It's like if you were reading a book, the words in the book are the words in the book, but you could read it, like however you want to interpret it. Like maybe the character is sad, or maybe the character is happy, or maybe the character is sarcastic or shy, and it can come through. If you're reading it out loud, it can come through in your voice. Like I was an actress when I was younger, and when we would do rehearsals, you would actually test out the character in various different moods or states of mind, reading the exact same words, but interpreting them in a different way. And I think that's really important, because I want to explain to people what it's like to be an astrologer. The first thing that I would say is it's a lot harder than it looks, especially like being an astrologer on YouTube, because I can speak more in a more forward, open way on my Patreon channel, which is private. You have to be you have to be a member of that, or in my workshops or with personal readings. I can speak directly and in a much more forward and open way. Whereas when I'm on YouTube, I have to be more careful with my language. Like yesterday, I used the phrase smoking dope, which I simply meant, like, I had this image in my mind of the scene in Alice in Wonderland where uh, the caterpillar is smoking opium through a hookah pipe. I meant, like, I was trying to create an image, like a metaphor of that Alice in Wonderland kind of fantasy land, where you're sort of under a drug effect. That's Neptune. Okay. But I realized after I uploaded the video, before I even read any comments, that I was probably going to offend a few people by using the word dope, because some people would equate that to marijuana. And I specifically did not use the word marijuana. I meant to imply a much, much harder kind of drug experience, like heroin or opium. That's the comparison that I was making, and I just chose the wrong words. So apologies to anyone who uses those. They're pretty mild. Personally, I think it's not a big deal. And so I just wanted to be clear about that I did not actually mean to equate that to marijuana. But anyway, what I wanted to say about being an astrologer and predicting the future is that it's a lot harder than it looks. On YouTube, astrologers make it look easy. We're not going to go around all the time saying, oh my God, you wouldn't imagine how many hours, dozens and dozens of hours I poured over these charts trying to read them correctly and predict the future. They're not going to say that. We make it look easy. And sometimes it is, you know, sometimes you get an intuitive hit and you just know instantly when you look at a chart. That's happened to me before. But usually after that instant hit, then I take more time to do more in-depth research, because there's something in astrology called the rule of three, which is that if you find something in the charts 3 times, then that increases its accuracy. Okay. So I always want to take the time to look deeper. You know, if I'm making a prediction that is very serious, like uh, predicting an election outcome. Predicting election outcome is actually extremely difficult and complicated. And the problem was that some astrologers just looked at it once and said, oh, okay, there's Donald Trump's having a North Node return high in his chart. He's going to win the election. And they didn't do the backup work. You know, they didn't pour over charts for hundreds of hours looking for what else was happening in the charts. And you know, I'm not trying to criticize anyone. I'm just saying that this is what it's like behind the scenes. And even Joni Patry, which I know some of you on my channel don't like her, but the fact is she's been around for a really, really long time, decades, and she is highly respected in the astrology community. So, you know, individual people may not like her, but in the astrology community, she is highly respected. And even she got it wrong. Okay. So, you know, so part of that is because she's a Republican. She probably wanted to see it. She wanted to see Trump win. So she saw it and she ended it there. Whereas I didn't want to see that. So I took the time to look at what else was going on in the chart. And I did spend hundreds of hours studying charts. And I even created my own technique. And that's a big deal. You know, I mean, one of my favorite astrologers from Colorado, who's actually quite famous, said um, that he could spend the rest of his life studying astrology and he would still not learn everything. It's an ancient science that goes back thousands of years, and there are so many different techniques and so many different things that you can look at in a chart. And so, you know, so it's easy to look at a chart one time and think that you see what you want to see. I actually did not see what I wanted to see the first time. That's why I took the time to look deeper and to spend hundreds of hours looking at charts, and to create my own technique, as well as using dozens of other techniques that I was familiar with. So some person might say that's manipulating the information. Um, I saw it as doing a thorough job, like due diligence, you know, like I spent so many hours looking at so many different charts, using so many different techniques, because I wasn't going to be satisfied just to say, I know what the answer is. I kept looking until the very end. And and you can go back and see my videos. They're all there. You know, they speak for themselves. And I also know that if someone wants to believe what they want to believe, they're going to believe it. You know, there's no amount of facts that can change a person's mind. So there are going to be people out there who still think Trump won, who still think that it was fraudulent, even though across 50 states, Biden won by over 6 million votes in the popular vote, and he won 360 electoral college votes, which in 2016 Donald Trump called a landslide. But if they want to believe that across 50 states, all those states and all those courts that had to look at those petitions and complaints, all those states, all those courts, all the people involved, that they were all involved in some kind of fraudulent behavior, all of them, all the way down from the person counting the ballot all the way up to, some district court judge. They're all involved in fraud? No, of course they're not. But if someone wants to believe that, they're going to believe it. So there's nothing you can do. I just wanted people to understand that astrology and making predictions, especially about things like elections, is actually very, very difficult. We astrologers on YouTube make it look easy, but it's not. And so that's all I wanted to say. And then the other point I wanted to make was that somebody asked me about 2024 and asked about the possibility of Biden dying. Like, I can't remember the exact wording of the question. It was something like, is Biden going to die? Will Kamala Harris have to take over? I don't know the exact wording, but it was something along those lines. So I wanted to answer that question as part of this, to say predicting death is even, or I should say the timing of death, because we know everybody's going to die, but predicting the timing of death is even more difficult than predicting an election outcome, because an election outcome basically is 50-50, this guy's going to win or that guy's going to win, and so trying to predict death means that you have to look at all the signatures, and you have to find the one that's going to kick it off, because you might see a signature like a Pluto opposition to Pluto or something like that, and you could say, okay, Pluto is the god of death, they're in opposition to each other, and at the same time there's a full moon eclipse conjunct Pluto. That's a pretty strong signature of death, but that doesn't necessarily mean the person will die. I mean, they might have a brush with death, but or it might be a deep psychological transformation. It's like, it is really, really, really difficult to predict the timing of a person's death, and that's not an excuse. That is just the facts, and any astrologer who's going to publicly rest their reputation on predicting a public figure's death is taking a huge risk, because it's extremely unlikely that they'll get it right. And secondly, most astrologers would say that's unethical. And I agree with that. And so I will never make predictions of a public figure's death on a public platform like YouTube. I have occasionally answered questions about that in private readings, because the person had a good reason for asking that question. And so we could look at the chart and see if we could find some clues to help answer that question in terms of the timing. Like if there was an ill parent or something like that. And that might make sense. But to predict, to say anything about Biden's lifespan, the chances of hitting it is extremely unlikely, no matter how many hundreds of hours I spend looking at charts. And also, I do think it's unethical. So I won't be answering questions like that. I might at some point look forward to 2024 and see what the alignments look like for Biden and Kamala. But the problem with that is that, and again, this isn't an excuse. And, this isn't a kind of video I would normally make. I just felt like it was necessary to help people understand what an astrologer can do and what they can't do. And I would say that that's true across the board, that, this is just true of astrology in general. It's not just me specifically, but that when you're looking at a date like 2024, let's say the election 2024, and you're looking at how the alignments land on someone like Biden's chart or Kamala Harris's chart. So there's some information that may not be available, such as if they're even there. And I'm not necessarily saying that they wouldn't be alive, but I mean, anything can happen, you know. There could be any reason why a person might not be running for office in 2024, even though I expect them both to be running for office. But anything could happen between now and then. So you'd be making a prediction on something that may not even be true. I mean, like fundamentally true. Like you're assuming something that's not even going to be true. And you can't see that in the charts. So, so the other thing is that when assuming that they will be running together in 2024, the issue is this, that what you see in their charts will still be signatures of them being in the public eye, of them achieving, you know, significant goals in their career, whether they win or not. And that's part of the reason why it's so difficult to predict an election outcome. And Donald Trump is a perfect example of that, that both candidates running for president are going to have signatures in their chart that show that they are very much in the public eye and that they are achieving significant career goals. So for Trump, having a North Node return high in his chart, while it didn't indicate him winning a second term, what it does indicate is that he will play an important role in the public. Okay, he's already talked about being involved in some kind of media project, and so he's going to continue to be in the public eye for a while, you know, not as president, but doing other things. And in terms of the karma of the United States, that's still he's still playing out his role in the karma of the United States. Okay. But you can make a choice now about what you want to focus your attention on. So you, you know, you can go and read his tweets, or, you know, watch news programs about him, or whatever you want to do. Or you can, now that you know everything's going to be fine because Donald Trump has already obviously accepted that he lost and Biden won. He's already, you know, said that the transition can begin, and it's already begun. These court cases, at least in Pennsylvania, and the other ones that whose certification dates have passed, have been dropped. And I mean, it's basically, you know, even if he hasn't fully acknowledged it publicly, it's obvious he's acknowledged it personally, that he lost and Biden won, and that's it. And he will be leaving the White House. So, so the point that I'm making is that now that we know that we're going to have 4 years under Biden and Harris, and a Democratic executive branch and a democratically led House, and though we don't quite know how the Senate's going to work out, you know, it's going to be close. It's going to be tight one way or the other. So you can at least feel, you can rest assured, because I know how you would be feeling if Trump had won the election, you know. So this is a big deal. And this gives you the opportunity to decide how you want to spend your time and energy and awareness and attention. You know, do you want to pay attention to what Trump is doing? I mean, he really doesn't have any power once we reach January 20th, 2021. And you can already see it starting to taper off, but for sure by that day, he really has no actual power, only the power that people give him, like the people who pay attention to him. So you can make the choice if you want to listen to him, if you want to pay attention to him, or if you want to use that time and energy and attention and focus on your own personal growth and your own life, making your own life better, and your own consciousness development, and your own well-being, and your own peace of mind. You know, that's your choice. And so I know that I want to do a lot more general astrology on this channel, and not to say I won't do any political astrology. I still do that, but I really do want to do a lot more general astrology and consciousness expansion work, because and personal growth work, because I think that that's really where it's at now that we don't have to worry about somebody crazy in the White House. And also, if you want to improve your financial well-being, that's why I'm creating the Financial Freedom Channel, because I know I have a lot of knowledge and life experience to share, and I enjoy sharing that. And so I'm going to keep making videos and sharing everything I know with you, and all my knowledge and all of my experience. So I hope that was helpful. Again, I want to be very clear that this isn't something I would normally talk about, because I want to be very clear that I'm not making excuses. Astrology is an extremely difficult science to learn and practice. I say it takes 10,000 hours to master astrology. And even after that, which is, by the way, 3 hours of study every day for 10 years. And even after that, you could, like that other astrologer said, you could study astrology for the rest of your life and not learn everything. It's a very complex, complicated science. It takes a lot of work, and we make it look easy on YouTube. So like I said, even Joni Patry got it wrong, and she is a highly respected astrologer in the astrology community. Not everybody would like her. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying overall in the community, she is highly respected, and she got it wrong. So I think that's it for now. And, I feel like this is kind of a controversial video, so I might get a lot of comments about this, but yeah, I'm just trying to give you kind of a glimpse behind the scenes to let you know what really goes on for astrologers. And I know that's true for everyone, basically. Anyone who's doing astrology on YouTube has to do a lot of work and a lot of research to study those charts and make predictions. So, all right, that's it for today. And as always, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please click on the red button and subscribe. And if you're willing to go over to my Financial Freedom channel and subscribe to that, I would really, really appreciate it. And thank you for liking this video. Thank you for sharing with friends and family and on social media. Thank you for helping me build this channel. And thank you for all your comments. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.